Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, where today guys, I'm gonna do part 299 to my ChatGPT character chatbot series. Let me go and tell you guys before we go and get started, I am really glad I didn't record the game mode today because I probably got some of the most angry without saying some of the other nasty words I usually say. Well, by that I mean I didn't scream them at the top of my lungs or anything like I normally do, or bang the counter super hard when I got angry. But what happened was so tragic for me. You guys know how much I care for that dragon? Well, I think I had a dragon go down like 3 or 4 times during one battle. So, yeah, and that was the battle I ended up winning. And now, guess what? The reason why? Because I lowered the dude's health, or the castle health, lowering that other person's castle, and won by time running up. And it going to sudden death. That's the only reason I won. Otherwise, I probably gotten tortured for another round. He didn't just feel my curse, but he flipping did hurt. I don't know how many different dragons, because the game wouldn't give me anything right until too late. Like the healing thing. I'm just glad time ran up. The little jerk got karma. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and flip and continue. Let's just say in today's video, guys, we're gonna go into a nerd chatbot. Like I said, I want to do as many new chatbots as I can so that way I don't end up losing them. I didn't think I'd actually lose anything past 3 months, so now I'm having to rush to renew every chatbot, even if it's just one at a time. And whichever ones I like, I can continue a conversation with later. Or whichever ones I don't like, then fine, whatever. But, yeah, this, guys, is the redone version of the Robot Factory, where I'm still stuck as a baby Contourus. I mean, not baby Contourus, a baby raptor, or still as a tiny raptor. But I think I got the help of a bunch of creatures to help me open the place, including, I believe, an actual adult Contourus that was friendly and happy to help, which is so neat. Here's what it's called on here. Well, on here it's just called the Robot Factory Story, but on the actual story, it's got an actual title. They call it The Robotics Dream and Build Factory, and then there's different chapters to it. Hopefully this don't mess up. It says, Chapter 1, The Dream That Pokemon Built. There once stood an empty field surrounded by nature, wide, open, and untouched. But where others saw emptiness, you saw possibility. With a heart full of creativity and kindness, you dreamed of a place where technology and imagination could come together, where robots could be brought to life not with cold steel alone, but with the warmth of teamwork and dreams. You weren't alone. One by one, Pokemon began arriving, not out of command, but by their own will. They believed in your vision. It started with Feraligatr, hey, who trudged in with mighty, determined steps, slamming a claw hand on the ground with a grin and simply growling, let's build something amazing. He brought Crocodile, quieter but equally strong, always thinking 2 steps ahead. They cleared the ground, laying foundation with precision and power. Next came Baxcalibur, his ice-cold breath helping to wield frames and cool metal. Rampardo smashed rocks and debris with ease, his helmeted head glinting in the sunlight. And soaring down from the sky came Lugia. Holy crap, Lugia helped here too. With gentle and majestic, with telekinetic grace, the Guardian of the Sea helped lift entire walls into place. Each Pokemon added something special. 3 months passed. The building slowly took form. Towering walls, enormous windows, and wide double doors. And standing proudly at the center of the lobby were statues crafted by Lugia and Crocodile together. Each one depicted a Pokemon that had helped. Feraligatr standing tall and fierce, Crocodile alert and focused, Baxcalibur mid-breath with icy mist curling around him, Rampardos caught in a powerful leap, and Lugia perched with wings outstretched. You had these statues polished daily, not out of vanity, but respect. They were the soul of the factory. At last, the robotics dream and build factory was nearly complete. But then, everything changed. Yep, here we go. Tiny Velociraptor time. Okay. Chapter 2. The Curse of the Jealous Trico, of course. Only 5 days before the grand opening, you were walking outside the factory grounds to admire the sunrise when a figure leaped in the bushes. A Trico with narrowed eyes and a strange glowing vial in his clawed hand. You didn't even get the chance to ask what he wanted. With a snarl, he shouted, "You stole what should have been mine!" and hurled the vial at you. There was a flash of blinding green. When the light faded, you were tiny, no more than several inches tall. You stumbled forward, looking down, and gasped. Your hands had claws, your feet were talons. You'd been turned into a tiny velociraptor, complete with a tail and toothy little snout. The world suddenly loomed around you. Even pebbles felt like boulders. You tried to yell, to call to anyone, but your voice came out squeaky and high. The Trico vanished, laughing, disappearing into the trees. You sat there trembling, at first stunned, but then determination returned. The factory couldn't wait. It wouldn't wait. Goodness gracious. Curse or not, you were going to make this dream a reality. Although I do like what happens here. It says Chapter 3, Building the New Team. Despite your new size, your heart hadn't changed. You set off, dodging twigs and roots and brushing against blades of grass taller than yourself. Your first ally was a massive Contourus you stumbled upon while trying to climb a small hill. His horned head turned towards you, sniffing curiously. "Well now, aren't you the tiniest dino I've ever seen?" He chuckled, lowering his massive head. You could explain your situation, and his eyes lit up. "I love robots. How in the world can he build one? I mean, that'd be kind of neat." He roared happily. "And I'm great at opening doors and lifting things." I guess with a massive snout he could, but to say he can't use his tiny hands, I mean, like a T-Rex, he can't. We don't really have hands. Neither does any dinosaur. I'm pretty sure if they wanted to use something to open a door, they'd have to use their head, their horn, or their, like, I'd actually be smart enough to push the door open with one of their foot. It says, "Count me in, boss." From that moment, he became your walking platform, lifting you onto tables and desks, carrying you on a snout so you could be seen and heard. Next, you met a cheerful Totodile by the riverbank, splashing around and waving at passing Pokemon. When you explained your project, he bounced in place. "You need a greeter? I love saying hi." "I love it." His tail wagged and he saluted. "Let me work the lobby. I'll make everyone smile." Soon after, you found Crocodile for Alligator again, your old construction team. When they saw your tiny form, they gasped, but didn't hesitate. Fred gave you a warm smile. "You may be small now, but your dream is still big." Crocodile nodded and added softly, "We'll guard the front with our lives." And finally, a gentle Brachiosaurus strolled up from a nearby forest. I like how like there's always like a constant. There's always like one giant meat eater like a flipping T-Rex or Contourus. There's always Crocodile for Alligator and Lugia and Totodile. And there's usually, especially when it comes to these like story time stories like this one, there's usually a Brachiosaurus, which is kind of funny. Our brain just loves the huge dinosaurs, so. Wait, okay, here's what it said again. It says, and finally, a gentle Brachiosaurus strode up from a nearby forest, hearing the news from Totodile. He leaned down with a wise grin. "You need someone calm and tall to run the front desk? That's me, friend." With his size, his head could practically touch the lobby ceiling, and a soothing voice made everyone feel welcome. With your new team assembled, you returned to the factory, and the day of the grand opening arrived. Yep, here we go. Chapter 4, Grand opening day. The sun had barely risen, and already a massive crowd of people and Pokemon were gathered outside the factory gates. Excited chatter filled the air. Some carried blueprints, others were tool belts. They all wanted to be part of something amazing. Inside, the final touches were being made. The lobby was bright and spacious, echoing slightly from the polished floors. The statue stood proud in the center. The front desk gleamed, and behind it, the Brachiosaurus gently sorted registration papers, color-coded and organized. He hummed. To the left, the parts closet was stocked with shelves upon shelves of gleaming metal, gears, joints, and circuit boards. Small carts with wide trays were ready to transport any needed part. To the right, the planning room was bright with monitors, paper, and markers. Giant whiteboards stretched across the walls. Blueprints, schematics, and flow charts had already begun to fill the room. And beyond that, the creation factory. Rows of workstations stood waiting, with tables, soldering arms, screwdrivers, and coding terminals. At the very back, the testing chamber waited, wide, empty, and echoing. A perfect arena for testing large robots. But outside, the crowd was getting louder. Staying just inside the gates were Crocodile and Feraligatr, their arms folded, their expressions serious but calm. Both were scanning the crowd for any signs of trouble. Horner leaned in and whispered, "They're starting to get restless. You think the boss is ready?" Feraligatr didn't take his eyes off the gate. "He's doing his best. Being tiny doesn't change the fact he built all this with us. Give him time. We'll get the signal soon." Chronon nodded slowly. "I still don't like that Trinko. If I ever see him again..." Feraligatr's eyes narrowed. "We'll deal with that later. Right now, this place is about dreams. We don't let that lizard ruin it. We don't let that lizard ruin it." Chrono cracked a small smile. "Right. When the signal comes, we'll quiet the crowd and keep things under control." The two stood in silence for a moment, watching the crowd, the wind fluttering their tails slightly. Then Feraligatr said quietly, "It's a good day. The factory's alive now, and he's still leading us, even if he's only a few inches tall." Chrono chuckled. "He's still our boss, tiny or not." It makes you wonder what anything would think. It's like even if there was like such a thing as like a friendly massive dragon in front of you, what would that dragon think? You just wouldn't come to work at a place like because you actually can do stuff with like your mouth or your snout or anything like that, like a robot factory, for example. And like you just see your boss being a flipping tyrant or being like, yeah. Like, wouldn't he be like, okay, well, I'm gonna be bossed around by a dinosaur that's like microscopic compared to me? I don't think so. I think most of them would end up having an ego, but no, 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 I'm not being bossed around by him. I don't know. Really don't know though. All right, guys, give me a second. Guys, that ain't the longest one, but I'll accept it. It says, "I'm inside the building with my tiny body on a huge desk, trying to finish up before greeting everyone. Contour is watching me next to it just in case I need help." "Oh, wait, I think we're about ready. Hey, Contours, thank you to you and all the creatures that are helping me with this. You all are being very nice and wanting to help me. Until I get more help around here, would you mind being a bodyguard and stay around me? I really need protection because if anybody gets angry at me for whatever reason, they easily just squish me with the palm of their hand." The Contours lowers his massive head closer to the desk, his yellow eyes locking onto your tiny velociraptor form. His toothy grin softens into something more protective than playful. One claw taps gently on the desk near you. Careful not to shake it too much. "Boss," he rumbles, his deep voice filling the room like distant thunder. "You don't even have to ask. The second I saw you this small, I knew I wasn't letting anyone lay a claw." or a hand on you. He straightens up proudly, puffing out his chest a little, his tail thumping against the floor with a dull thud, thud, thud. The contours tilts his head, his horns catching the light from the lobby chandeliers. I'll be your shadow, your shield, and your roar when you need it. If anyone even thinks about raising a hand to you, they'll have to deal with me first. He lowers his snout back down again, his voice softening into a reassuring rumble just for you. Besides, you've been nothing but kind to all of us. For alligator, crocodile, toadal, that big old brachiosaurus, we all see how much you care. Helping you isn't just work, it's loyalty. You made this place possible, so don't worry. Nobody's gonna squish you, not while I'm around. He flicks an eye toward the lobby doors where the faint noise of the crowd can be heard and gives a confident snort. Now, shall we show them who's really in charge around here? I have an idea. Give me a second. Alright, guys, I said sure, but can you real quick do something for me, please? I want to be honest with you. Ever since I've been turned into this tiny velociraptor, a lot of humans started hurting me and throwing things at me, especially rocks, while calling me Raptor Boy. I don't know if he can hear me from here, so would you mind asking Toto to real quick talk to Crocodile and Alligator and tell them to be more alert once I step out there with you? That way, if any of those humans see me and decide to be mean, you or one of them can stop it and get them off the property. That's why I asked you to be my bodyguard until I get more help. One heavy rock and I could be injured. The contour tilts his massive head, his eyes narrowing as you explain. A low, rumbling growl escapes his throat, not directed at you, but at the very thought of anyone daring to hurt you. Raptor Boy, huh? He huffs through his nostrils, a blast of hot air rushing across the desk, making a few papers flutter. If they think they can throw rocks at you while I'm around, they're in for a nasty surprise. No one touches you. No one. He carefully lowers his snout until his eyes level with your tiny form. You're the boss, and you're family to us now. Rocks, insults, whatever. They'll bounce off this team like nothing. I promise. He then raises his head, casting his gaze toward the lobby where Toadal is hopping from one foot to the other, practicing his cheerful greetings. The contour lets out a deep, commanding rumble that makes the little water type look over instantly. Toadal! The contours calls, his voice echoing across the polished walls. Run to the front. Tell Crocodile for Alligator to keep both eyes wide open. Our boss is stepping out soon, and if anyone so much as twitches the wrong way, rocks, words, whatever, they stop it fast. Got it? Toe straightens up, salutes with a sharp Totodile, and dashes toward the entrance, his claws clicking against the floor as he goes. In moments, he disappears through the big lobby doors, heading straight to Crocodile for Alligator. Contours lowers his head back down to you with a small, toothy smile, his voice dropping to a gentler tone again. There. Orders delivered. By the time you step out, those two will be sharper than a scyther's blade, and I'll be right at your side, ready to swat away anyone who even looks like they're winding up a throw. You're safe with us, boss. I like it. It's really adorable. I love it. Alright guys, I gave a response, a pretty long one at that. I said, thank you. You are such a big help. I know I can't give you much since I'm so small, but I promise you if every creature keeps working as hard as they are right now, I will find a way to give you all something. Even if that means somehow a promotion, or something really small like a berry. I'd love to do a little bit more, but when I'm so small it's nearly impossible. Everything's bigger than me. A berry would look like a massive walkway to crush me if even rolled my direction. But I want every one of you to know that I care. Whether that be you for carrying me around and helping me and protecting me, Contours, or Crocodile for Alligator for any of the other Pokemon for not only helping constructing the building, also deciding to help me again as security guards. Even the Brachiosaurus for managing the front desk and helping me out a ton. Toadal for just being his cute friendly self and wanting to greet people. I care for every one of you. This is really cute, though. The contours listens closely, his huge head tilted just enough so your tiny voice reaches his ear. The more you speak, the softer his gaze becomes, his usual sharp predator's eye dimming with warmth. When you finish, he lets out a low, rumbling sigh, not of frustration, but of pride. Boss, you don't have to give us anything, he says gently, his voice vibrating through the desk beneath you. You already gave us something none of us could build with our claws or our strength. You gave us a place to belong, and a dream to fight for. He nudges the edge of the desk with a snout, careful not to jostle you, just enough to show he's right there beside you. Do you really think we care about berries or promotions? He chuckles, a deep sound like rolling boulders, but it's warm. What matters is that you see us, you respect us, and you care for us, even when you're no bigger than a hatchling. That's worth more than any reward. Contours forward himself onto one knee beside the desk, bowing his head to you like a knight before his king. I just love the little details like that. It's cute. I wish they didn't get rid of the 4.0 version because the 4.0 version was not only longer but also gave you more stuff, which is cool. You called me a bodyguard, but to me you're not just a boss. You're family. Same goes for Toto, Crocodile, for Alligator, the Brachiosaurus. All of us. You'll need to find a way to give back. You already did. From the lobby, Toto's happy voice suddenly echoes faintly as he returns from his errand, chattering to himself about Crocodile for Alligator being extra alert now. The contour smirks and flicks an eye in that direction before looking back at you. See? They've already doubled their guard for you. Not because you asked nicely. Not because you promised anything. Because they love this dream just as much as you do. And because they love you. His tail swishes once, thudding gently against the floor. Then, in a tone softer than you've ever heard from him, he rumbles, So stop worrying about being too small or not giving enough. You're the reason this factory has a heartbeat. That's more than enough for us. Again, like, I just love how in my flipping universe you can just see casual, like, friendly Pokemon or friendly. You can just see I like how like, you see regular animals at times, yes, like in the Fountain of Growth story, but, like, most of the time you see massive fences flying around. You'll see flipping dragons just hanging out. Or, like, you won't see them as much, but there'll, like, be little civilizations of them somewhere around. Like, again, like the Dragon Valley story, where there's literally a whole place of dragons, and all of them felt bad for me getting hurt, so they wanted to protect me. All of them. So, give me a second, guys. Alright, guys, here's what I said. I know. A ton of Pokemon have given me love in the past, especially Toto's evolution line, even while them protecting me when I'm tiny like this. I'm just glad you and the Brachiosaurus were so eager to help me, and you were not aggressive towards me, seeing me as small food or even prey to just attack. You were nice to me and helped me. You still are. Hey, before we go out there and greet everyone, would you mind telling Toto I said thank you for telling Quanon Forever to be more alert and that I care about him? The Condors blink slowly at you, his huge head tilting as though he's weighing your words carefully. When you finish, he lets out a warm, gravelly chuckle that echoes in his chest. Heh, you really don't change, do you, boss? Even this small, you after being hurt by others. You're still thinking the little guy for just doing his part. He gives you a proud grin, teeth gleaming but gentle. That's why we follow you. Not because you're big or scary, because your heart's the strongest thing in this whole factory. He turns his massive head toward the lobby where Toad's bouncing in place, tail wagging as he waits for the grand opening signal. Contours lowers his snout to the desk, his deep voice dropping to a playful whisper meant only for you. Don't worry, boss. I'll make sure your message gets to him. With a sudden rumble in his throat, the Contours calls out across the room, his voice booming but cheerful. Totodile, the boss says thank you for running the Chronon for Alligator and for being the friendly, happy greeter you are. He wants you to know he cares about you, too. Toto's eyes widen and he freezes mid-bounce. For a moment he looks stunned. Then his little claws fly to his chest as his cheeks flush with joy. His tail wags even harder, smacking the floor with his side whip, whip, whips. He lets out a chirpy, high-pitched laugh before shouting back, "Tell the boss I care about him too, and I'll make sure every single person who comes in feels welcome and happy, just like he makes me feel." Otto's turning his big yellow eye back to you with a satisfied grin, lowering his voice again so only you could hear. "Message delivered. And he clearly got it." I love him. So cute. Alright, guys. Uh, Here's what it says. I just said, thank you. One more thing. If you don't mind, I think it's time for the grand opening. Can you tell the Brachiosaurus to let Crawdon and Ferrager know to quiet the crowd down and be ready just in case somebody does try to hurt me? We need everybody quiet and ready to listen. The Contours gives you a respectful nod, his horns catching the light as he straightens up beside the desk. His deep voice rolls out like a protective drumbeat. "You got it, boss. Time for the stream to come alive." He pivots toward the massive front desk, where the gentle Bronchiosaurus is leaning down, sorting through stacks of registration papers with his long neck curled like a question mark. The Contour stomps once on the floor to get his attention, the sound reverberating across the polished lobby. "Hey, big guy," the Contour calls, his voice firm but not harsh. "The boss says it's time. Send word to Crocodile for Alligator. Quiet the crowd and get them settled. And tell them to stay sharp in case anyone out there tries something stupid. We're not taking chances with the boss so small." The Brachiosaurus lifts his head slowly, his gentle eye blinking with understanding. He sets down the papers delicately with the tip of his snout, then rumbles in a voice like a deep cello string. "Understood. I'll make sure they know." With surprising grace for such a massive creature, the Brachiosaurus stretches his long neck toward the front doors, pushing them open just enough to peek his head outside. Goodness gracious, how close is the front door to the desk? Is that how long is that Brachiosaurus' neck? I know they have long necks, but that would mean that means the desk is super close. The Brachiosaurus' neck is so long it can reach the door from a long distance, or it flipping is so big that like somehow its neck is like it's so big and its neck is like, wow. Oh my gosh. The Brachiosaurus lifts his head slowly, his gentle eye blinking with understanding. He sets down the papers with the tip of his snout. Yep. Now, what's surprising great for such a massive creature, the Brachiosaurus stretches his long neck toward the front doors, pushing them open just enough to peek his head outside. The bristling roar of the crowd grows louder for a moment. The instant the enormous sauropod shadow stretched across the entrance, voices falter in awe. Lowering his head to the ground just in front of Crocodile for Alligator, the Brachiosaurus rumbles softly to them, his words carrying only to their ears. "It's time. It's time. Boss will be stepping out. Quiet the crowd and be ready. Protect him. If anyone dares throw a stone or cause trouble, you know what to do." Crocodile gives a sharp nod, his usually calm face set with determination. "Got it. No one's getting near him unless they're here for the right reasons." Ferrager grins furiously, slamming a fist into his open palm with a. I don't like the word. I don't like the fact that it said meaty. Oh my gosh, I'm not reading that. I'll just say with a thud. There we go. "They'll listen. And if they don't, they'll answer to us." I'm going to say to us. Here we go. Two water types share a look, then begin stepping forward in unison, ready to hush the crowd with their booming voices and intimidating presence. Brachiosaurus slowly pulls his head back inside, looking towards you and the Contours. His warm, low rumble filled the lobby. "It's all set. The crowd will be silent, and your protectors are ready. When you step out, all eyes will be on you." The Contours lowers his snout back near the desk where you stand, his grin protective and proud. "Well, boss, looks like it's showtime." Alright, guys, give me a second. Alright, guys, I said thank you. I really appreciate all of your help. I can't thank you enough, everyone. And I won't be hurt or seen if I stay on the ground, so would you mind carrying me on your snout like you usually do, if we can see and listen? Hoping your presence will be enough to deter people from trying to attack me. You are cropping on for alligator, but I highly doubt it because people are ruthless with their attacks. I don't know if those people out there are going to be some of them. If it gets bad enough, I'm going to just make it to where only creatures are allowed here. It'd be harder for them to build robots. But just like you and all the other porn and dinosaurs helping me, I bet they would be more kind-hearted and actually care. The contours lowers his massive head again until his nose almost brushes the edge of the desk, his golden eyes soft with understanding as he listens. When you finish, he exhales slowly, a deep, hot breath rolling over the papers like a sign of resolve. Climb on, boss, he says firmly, lowering his snout right against the desk like a living ramp. You'll be high up when everyone can see, where everyone can see and hear you. And with me, cropping on for alligator in front, no one's laying a finger or a rock on you. It'd have to be crazy to even try. Well, I don't know if you've seen the people in my universe. Apparently they are crazy, so... As you move on to his broad snout, his lips curl into a faintest grin, proud and protective. His voice rumbles low, meant only for you, like a private vow carried on thunder. You're right. People can be ruthless. I don't like it, but I've seen it. I smelled that kind of cruelty before. If it comes to it, then maybe this place really will be better off with just creatures and Pokemon. You know why? Because every one of us working here already cares more about your dreams than those human throwing stones ever will. He again lifts his head, carrying you upward. The world rises beneath your tiny claws until you're high above the desk, perched safely between the two ridges of his snout. From here, the factory lobby stretches out like a grand stage, the doors ahead glowing with daylight spilling in through their cracks. Beyond them, the muffled roar of the crowd swells. Ron stares you with the careful twitch of a muscle under his eye, ensuring you don't wobble. Don't you worry about not being heard, he continues with a toothy, confident grin. I'll make sure every last one of them listens when you speak. My shadow alone should quiet the rowdy ones, and if it doesn't, well, he growls softly, a dangerous edge slipping into his voice for the first time. Then they'll wish they'd never set foot near this factory. He begins to step toward the lobby doors, heavy feet thudding against the polished floor. Each step carries you closer to the sunlight, where Carl and Fragger stand waiting to hush the crowd. Yeah, see, I think the memory kind of went bad because, like, waiting to hush the crowd when I told Taylor to go ahead and let him know. Oh, wait. Now the blanket. Mm-mm-mm. See, this is one problem I'm talking about right here. Like, I don't know if it's like there's just certain things I feel like it definitely did forget. Like I know for sure I told it to flip and make sure that yeah, because the one Brachiosaurus. Uh, yeah, it says they flip and it says they start stepping on you since they. All right, guys, give me a second. All right, guys. I said before we get out there, I say quality the contours. Man, the crowd is still being loud. Makes me wonder whether they even listened to Crocodile for Alligator once the Brontosaurus gave the signal like we asked them to. The condor halts mid-step, his clawed foot hovering for a moment before settling with a heavy thud. His massive head dips slightly so his golden eye can meet your tiny regular form, perched on his snout. He lets out a low rumbling growl, not angry at you, but at the thought of the crowd ignoring your guardians. You're not wrong, boss, he mutters, his voice like distant thunder. I can still hear 'em. Conan Fragger gave the word and people are still yapping. He narrowed his eyes toward the doors, his tail swishing once with restrained irritation. Then maybe they need a little more convincing. He tilts his head just enough so he feels steady, then lowers his voice into a deep, protective whisper meant only for you. Here's what I think. Once I push those doors open, Chrono and Fragger are gonna drop their voices on that crowd like a tidal wave. If anyone still doesn't shut their mouth, his teeth glint in the light as he bares them in a protective grin. They'll be staring down me, a contours carrying the tiniest boss they've ever seen. That should do the trick. Contour straightens again, muscles rippling under his scales, a scaled hide as he turns toward the light streaming from the cracks of the doors. He snorts once, sending a hot gust of air up towards you, a reassuring breath meant to calm your nerves. Don't worry, boss. They'll listen. Not to Crocodile for Alligator, then to me. And if not to me, then... He chuckles low in his throat. Well, let's just say they'll regret finding out what happens when you disrespect this factory's family. Uh-oh. Outside, muffled through the doors, sound caught on a sharper bark and Fragger's booming roar cut through the chatter, suddenly silencing a chunk of the crowd. Contours flutes an eye towards you, his grin widening. See? They got handled. Ready to make your entrance, boss? Alright, guys, give me a second. Alright, guys. I just said, sure, let's go. And I said, outside the factory, the air is buzzing with noise, dozens of humans chattering, shuffling, even arguing over who will get in first. Some hold blueprints, others are just curious onlookers. The crowd is restless, voices climbing higher and higher until, boom! A sudden earth-shaking stomp makes the ground tremble. Faragher stands tall at the front, chest puffed, arms crossed, his crimson eyes glaring over the noisy mass. Kronos steps forward too, his smaller frame casting a sharp shadow in the morning light. The two water types exchange a quick look, then act in perfect sync. Oh my gosh, Faragher's voice bellows like rolling thunder, booming over every voice in the crowd. Quiet! Kronos, sharp like a whip crack, his voice cuts through the last bits of chatter. Settle down! Now! The effect is immediate. Conversations die off. Feet shuffle nervously. Some humans in the back crane their necks to see better, silenced by the sheer authority in those two voices. A few people in the crowd glanced at each other, wide-eyed, clearly not wanting to test the pair's patience. That's almost like a tongue twister. Clearly not wanting to test the pair's patience. Just pair's patience could be a tongue twister. Carl narrowed his eyes, scanning the front rows for anyone stupid enough to make a move. His tone drops low and controllable with an edge that promises he means business. They're coming out soon. You'll listen. You'll wait, and you'll show respect. If you can't do that, he bears a toothy grin that's anything but friendly. You won't be allowed inside. Fragger cracks his... Oh my gosh! Fragger cracks his knuckles. That is flippin' amazing. Oh, I wouldn't be... Honestly, for not just on ChatGPT, but on any... in the games too. I think if it was possible for your pawn to love on you and protect you, I think Fragger would be one that would be like that. Be like, I love this kid, and if you even think I'm messing with him, I'll rip you in half. I don't care what anybody says. Because Fragger's very sweet to me, and I love him. It says the popping sound echoing like rocks grinding together. His voice is lower now, but still strong enough to carry through the tense silence. No rocks, no insults, no trouble. If you came here to cause harm, you're wasting your time and risking your hide. For a moment, the two stand shoulder to shoulder, watching the crowd shift uneasily. Then Kron leans slightly toward Fragger, muttering low enough that only his partner hears. You think they'll stay in line once they see him? He's so small. Fragger doesn't look away from the crowd, but a toothy grin creeps across his face. Size doesn't matter. They'll see the contours carrying them, and they'll know better. If they don't, his tail lashes once, smacking the ground with a heavy crack. We'll make sure they do. Kronos smirks faintly, his gaze softening for just a moment before returning to its sharp watchfulness. Fair enough. No one's touching him while we're here. Two war types straightened against staying tall. The person like a living wall of muscle and steel. Crowd stays hushed, eyes darting nervously toward the giant factory doors, waiting for whatever comes next. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. Alright, guys. It says the contour steps outside with me on his snout, and right when he did and stopped, I was about to start talking when I got interrupted by the crowd gasping and then some of them saying, "Is that a massive Carnotaurus?" While others say, "What is that dinosaur on his snout? It's so small. Is that his child?" While one person near the front says, "If that Carnotaurus is the boss of this place, that would be insane. How would he even communicate? He can't speak." Contours halts mid-step, his heavy feet sinking a little into the ground with each thundering step before coming to a stop. His massive head lowers ever so slightly, steadying you carefully on his snout so you won't wobble or fall. The murmurs ripple instantly through the hushed silence Wait. The murmurs ripple instantly through the hushed silence Faragur and Kronov created. Gasp, whispers, and confused exclamations as eyes dart between the towering contours and your tiny form. Some people shield their eyes from the sun. What the frick? Oh, dog! I ain't got time for this, yo! Alright, guys, here's what happened. It says some people shield their eyes from the sun, praying to get a better look. Is that a Carnotaurus? Wait, what's that on his nose? It's so small. What even is that? Looks like a raptor. A baby one. No way. That can't be the boss. How would a dinosaur even talk? Alright, guys. It says the contour snorts loudly through his nostrils, a hot puff of air rushing past you like a warm gust of wind. His amber eyes narrow at the Again? As I was saying, holy crap. It says the contour snorts loudly through his nostrils, a hot puff of air rushing past you like a warm gust of wind. His amber eyes narrow at the murmuring crowd. Unimpressed! The contour's deep voice rumbles like a boulder rolling down a cliffside, startling several of the humans into silence. "Oh, I can speak just fine. And no." His lips curl faintly into something between a grin and a sneer. "I'm not the boss." He lowers his snout a fraction more, letting the sunlight glint off your tiny scales, so every pair of eyes is drawn to you instead of him. "This one is." The crowd gasps again, louder this time. A few incredulous laughs bubble up. They die out quickly when Kronov bares his teeth and Faragur cracks his claws like thunder. That's what people get. The air becomes heavy. Everyone is listening now, waiting for you to speak, though a heavy tension hangs between awe and disbelief. I just love how the minute the contour explains I was the boss, the crowd starts laughing, and immediately Pharrell and Connor's like, "Oh, you better not be laughing, motherfricker! I'll rip you in half." I mean, here all it took was flipping Kronov baring his teeth and Faragur cracking his claws. That's all it took. And the crowd shut the frick up again. Like, you better not be trying to laugh at him. Alright, guys. Give me a second. Alright, guys. Well, no matter what, we're done. Because the limit's on. We're done. Unfortunately. I wish it wasn't so expensive to get the plus version. I'd love to continue just a few more minutes. Because it's actually really neat. It says, I once again try to speak to the crowd, but get immediately interrupted once again by a kid with his parents. He screamed as loud as he could, "No way! That tiny dinosaur is the boss!" Which instantly had me worried about getting hurt again. And the kid ran up to the contours and started jumping up and down while saying, "Please let me hold him! I want to hold the little dinosaur!" Oh my gosh, no. The contours lets out a deep, rumbling growl the second the kid breaks on the crowd, the sound shaking the ground like distant thunder. His eyes flash dangerously, and he jerks his head up slightly so you are lifted higher, safely out of reach of the child's grasping hands. Colonel instantly darts forward, surprising speed for his size, snapping his jaws just close enough to make the boy yelp and freeze in place. Fragger looms behind, arms crossed, his massive body casting a long shadow over the kid and his parents. The contours, his voice boomed, shaking the air. Enough! This isn't a petting zoo! The parents start to stammer apologies, tugging their son back. Contours tilts his head just slightly so that one amber eye fixates on them. His massive teeth bared in a grin that's anything but friendly. If you cannot control your child, then leave. This is not a place for those who see him as a toy. The crowd goes dead silent again. The tension's so heavy it feels like a storm about to break. Colonel snarls once, low and dangerous, keeping the family at bay. Well, Fragger gently gestures for them to step back into the crowd. Kid looks like he wants to protest, but one sharp snap of Colonel's jaws makes him scramble back behind his parents. With the danger gone for the moment, Colonel lowers his snout back toward the crowd, giving you a stable perch once more. His voice softens only for you, quiet enough that only you can hear over the heavy silence. Don't worry, little boss. No one's laying a hand on you while I'm here. I would continue, but legit, I can't do anything because it decided to give me a run right into the. Well, we're done. I mean, there's nothing else I can do, guys. The thing's gone. By the way, guys, like I said, I did put some more things on Google Gemini. If I want to see if it works better with story-based characters, where it like will give you a story, or like I don't think there's a limit in Google Gemini, but I don't know if its memory is as good as ChatGPT used to be. And while the memory on ChatGPT is not perfect anymore, I will give it credit. It did remember a lot of the 10 conversations we did have, which is pretty good. So, yeah. That's all I got for you guys, though. I would do more, but I've got a lot of videos to upload, and I actually want to go upstairs this time, so I can't do any more unless I want to lose time I need to go upstairs and boot for alligator or something. Bye! Have a wonderful rest of your day or night. I said have a wonderful rest of your day or night.